I prominently work in the infrastructure industry, that's building services. So we usually deal with building science. So I work as a mechanical engineer. So my role usually, correlates to air conditioning, system design, and for different facilities. It could be a school. It could range from being a school to a hospital to a data center to residential and commercial buildings to warehouses to industries. So it's a pretty broad spectrum, and you can specialize, and there are heaps of opportunities over there to pick up that niche where you want to head towards after joining the industry. So for a day-to-day activity, it's basically you get a project, you understand the project with the client, the meetings going on a bit, and then you understand the requirement. Obviously, you'll have to comply with the Australian codes and the building construction codes. Apart from that, then you actually design the system. So we usually do front-end engineering. That is loosely what it is, basically front-end engineering. We design the whole thing, and then we as consultants, we put forward our design and our design statements out there. So this is a very in short way of saying what I do in a day-to-day. Design work is, let's say, 80%, 80 to 85%. Most of the time, you end up designing a lot. Because obviously, once you start designing, you actually give the initial concept. It all starts from giving the initial concept. Then you move on to preliminary design. Then you move on to design development. Once the client is happy, and once you know that things have already been set in course, and then from there you move on to construction issue and issue for construction and whatever the phase of the project is, because each project has its own way of progressing forward. Apart from that, 15% I would say is basically team meetings, discipline meetings where you discuss design issues that have happened, other issues. There'll be a few commissioning parts as well, because as design engineers, you also have to go on site and and make sure that what you have actually designed is put in over there and it's working. Because if there's going to be any changes, then you have to go back to the design board, design it again, or however it is with the builder and the contractors over there. But that is what a day-to-day is. Basically, you design a lot. There's team meetings and discipline meetings. There are meetings with the client. There are workshops going on. There are engineering workshops for project management going on. And that is what. And this usually broadens up as you move up the scale. So obviously, a fresh grad wouldn't just hop onto the meetings immediately. He might be there somewhere there in the background listening to it for I would say experience and to understand what actually goes on over there. But most of his works would actually be in on the design aspect as well. Huge, I would say. There's not just one option. They could look at it two ways. Either you could branch out into an industry that's coming up. There's definitely product management, product engineering. There's building services. There's energy industry. There's automobile. There's aeronautics. But those are like the main branches. But then it also comes up in a way that for someone for example, if someone's looking into energy, they could go towards building services and then branch out towards energy efficiency. That's a way of saying you're working with the energy efficiency. You could be a consultant over there. You could be you could do a lot of things over there. Product engineering is the same way. You could branch out into either you could work for Dyson or you could work for something else, or you could start up your own product. So that's one way of looking at it. So it basically differs in a way in the place you're living and what kind of industry is actually booming at that place. That is, I would say, the first and the foremost way of understanding which what kind of job role you should look for, and what also interests you a lot. So yeah. It was a kind of a practical choice because population is going to grow. People are going to want to live in buildings and apartments. Obviously, there's going to be huge loads of apartments in the near future coming up, and a lot of facilities are going to coming up. So this was this kind of a role was I thought would be the most interesting and the most safest bet in terms of there won't be a lot of too much ups and downs in the industry. A few here and there, a few, but not too much. That might address in some industry. That's what my most initial thought was. So that's what actually I thought. What, I might as well go for this one. Plus, building services is almost the same everywhere you go, so that gives you a bit more breadth in terms of going from one place to the other. You might move on to States, you might move on to Europe, you might move on to Middle East or Singapore or anywhere. But the thing is, in engineering stays the same. So yeah, a few here and there tweaks on the standards, and you're good to go. Yeah. That's what actually interested me in this way. Yeah, but it's pretty interesting. There's a heap of things you can do in this. I mean, if you're really interested in it, I would say go for it. But I would say anyone who's going for any job role, I would say first actually look into what's the day-to-day work life over there, because you might think of something once you're entering, and you might not, your visualization might not be the reality. So it's better to be more in touch with the reality of what is as a day-to-day life over there, what's the perspective over there, and what's the career growth over there. You need to be on the facts with this, not what it could be, what it is right now, and what kind of opportunities are there for you to progress further. And and from there, I would say choose a role that fits you well over there. Yeah. Like in terms of building services in general, I would say one of your tips as well, start doing a bit of cold messaging. Not to get I would say don't put more stress on the job, put more stress on getting to know the person, because sometimes it might not be all of them, but a few of them. Sometimes what they might respond back, and you can ask them a few questions of what the role is and what kind of role are they into, and what's their everyday work life over there. But other than that would give the person a good perspective of how to approach if someone wants to get into this kind of role, how to approach it. The other way I would say is do a bit of research on what kind of skills. Like for example, I could say obviously Revit is something that we use in a day-to-day life, and it's probably one of the most important tools that we have. So one thing I would say is go online, see what Revit is like. If you don't have access to it, you could probably work around a similar tool that would give you a certain sense of familiarity with Revit. And if you're looking into mechanical engineering, especially in the HVAC roles, then I would say thermal calculations are a big thing. So get a good understanding of it before entering it, because that would give you a good boost. Because a lot of people might not do this, but if you have done this, it just shows that okay, this person has researched and knows what he wants. He's actually there for this kind of position. I would also stress on the soft skills. Learn to speak a lot. Okay, it could be anyone. It could be the director of the company. It could be the associate director. It could be, it could be the HR. It could be a senior engineer over there. Just speak with them. Sometimes it clicks. Sometimes it doesn't. So just keep on speaking to them. Upgrading your soft skills, upgrading your technical skills, because at the end of the day, if you're industry ready, then you're hired immediately. Yeah, I would definitely say go for an internship, because it just gives you an added bonus. It's not just something that goes on your resume, but it actually shows you how a professional works in the field, and in a way prepares you for the same. It gives you it's like a training period for you. You got to get up early in the morning, go to the office. You got your priorities there. You got your time management skills over there. Because at the end of the day, because no one's going to look at you and say, look after you, and do micromanagement. Basically, they're just going to give you a job. A bunch of jobs will come your way, like 4 or 5 jobs, and then that's it. It's up to you how you prioritize it, and it's up to your own time management skills. So at the end of the day, these skills are something that's really important as well. It might not be something that shines out as something really important, but it is one of the core skills that you need, because multiple projects might go on multiple times or on the same time, and you need to prioritize these things. So that's one thing that the internships would definitely help you out. And then I would say just working in that industry would give you a good knack of what's been going on and what I can learn more. It's something of an on-job experience that might differ from person to person. Like for me, it was very different. I didn't intern in building services. I interned as I interned in oil and gas and product engineering. So it was something that was completely different, but I know what happens over there now. So yeah, you might not give importance to time management skills or prioritization, but at the end of the day, for me, it's like I could say there are some days where I have 3 projects going on the same day. And you can't just go up to the client and say, you know what, the other one's much more in money, in funds. That's more important. No, that's not how it works. That's really unprofessional. So you have to meet those timelines. You have to prioritize. You have to do you need to have good time management skills over there, so you know what you're working on. And as consultant, I would say time management is really crucial to us, because that's how we really work. We have certain hours on on each project that we have to give. You don't know where you might end up, so just having any good experiences would be fruitful, because at the end of the day, if you don't like the industry, you don't want to go there. So that's one experience you could take, 'cause this job's not for me, I want something different. So you might branch out and do something else. But the knowledge that you don't like this, or you like this, or this is what you like, and this is what you didn't like, is kind of enlightening at that point of time. Yeah. So once I graduated, obviously you start applying for jobs, but sometimes, people get back to you, don't get back to you. Obviously you were already there in the picture by then. So we had our meetings going on, and, discussing about the tactics and the strategy that we should go with. I had someone to look up, just say, okay, you know what, this resume is fine, but it's not been tailored properly, or it's been tailored properly. That was something that's really helpful, because at the end of the day, any kind of suggestion or, advice someone gives is really important as well. But other than that, I would say networking was one thing that was really helpful to me as well. But other than that, I would say reach out to the recruiters themselves. Just pick up the phone, give them a call, drop an email, just introduce yourself out there. It doesn't have to be that you're asking for a job at that point. It also depends upon the job market. It might be down, it might be up. But at the end of the day, just being out there and telling the person, you know what, I'm here, I've done so and so, I've got these credentials over here. It just puts you forward over there. It's like, okay, when a job lands their way, that's suitable for you as a graduate, they might just give you a call. That's one way that I went through. I used to call them up and sometimes introduce myself, talk about a role, or sometimes even trying to understand what's the position of the market going on, job market, in that industry going on right now, like what's going on over there, and how can I position myself better. I used to have these talks with them sometimes, and that really helped me out, because it's a long process. It could take from 2 months to about 5 or 3 months at max, if you play your cards right. And that is something. And for some people, it might even be days as well. So that's what really helped me out. I would say keep on upgrading yourself, upgrading your skills. It could be soft skills, technical skills. It could be the way you address, or the way you phrase, or the way you introduce yourself. That's something that's really important as well. So yeah, this would be my tips to the guys who are actually joining the industry. Yeah. It is the only, I would say, I don't have the right word for it. I would say it's the only marketing pitch that you have to give to the employer at that point. So make sure it's tailored properly. You can have a main template. You can then have like branches going out from there for different kind of job roles, for different kind of industries. That would help, because you can't just put your main resume everywhere. It would be pretty general. You have to tailor your resume. So it is something that represents you in front of the employer. That's like the final representation you would have of you. So it needs to be perfect. It needs to be the best. And yeah, and it needs to highlight all the experiences that you have had. So you might have to paraphrase a lot, because sometimes what I've seen is the way you paraphrase, it also gives a certain perception to the employer, the way it's written, because then he might perceive it differently. And that's something that's really important. You need to relay the information as clear and as concise as it can be. That's something I've also been through. The only thing that I did was I changed my pace. Sometimes you might, obviously, you have to treat the job search as a 9-to-5 job. You get up early in the morning, you look into different companies, you apply, you go through a bunch of different websites, a bit of job portals out there. But sometimes it's good to also put your leg down and rest for a while, because you might be stressed out, you might have a burnout at the end of the day, because it's a pretty grueling process. It gives you a lot of stress, I would say. That's what helped me. So it might help you as well. But other than that, you need to be persistent. That's the key to it. So yeah. Keep on upskilling yourself, because the market is pretty competitive. It is not very easy. So the only way you could do is keep on upskilling yourself, keep on go out and do a bit of networking, and yeah, that would eventually put you in a good place.